Welcome back to Pocket Change Coins, where every coin could be a hidden treasure. First, we're revealing coins that might be worth a fortune right under your nose. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join our hunt for rare and valuable finds. Let's dive right in. We're diving into a coin that might seem like just another nickel, but it could actually be worth far more than its face value. We're talking about the 1964 D United States 5 cents coin, commonly known as the 1964 D nickel. Now, you might be thinking, a 1964 nickel? How valuable can it be? Well, you might be surprised to learn that this little coin, which was minted more than half a century ago, could be worth a small fortune, especially if you're lucky enough to own a rare version of it. Stick around as we uncover why the 1964 D nickel has become a sought-after treasure in the world of coin collecting, and just how much it could be worth today. Let's start with a little bit of background. The 1964 D nickel is part of a long series of Jefferson Nickels that have been in circulation since 1938. These coins feature a profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse front. The reverse of the coin showcases the famous Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, symbolizing his deep connection to the country's history and heritage. In 1964, the U.S. Mint produced a staggering number of these coins, with billions of Jefferson Nickels flooding into circulation. But here's the twist: not all 1964 D nickels are created equal. While many of these coins were widely distributed and used in everyday transactions, only a small percentage have survived in pristine condition, and even fewer have minting errors that make them especially valuable. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1964 D nickel stand out from the crowd. As with many other coins from this era, the value of a 1964 D Jefferson nickel is largely determined by its condition. Most of the coins you'll come across will be in circulated condition, meaning they've been through years of use and show signs of wear, such as scratches, fading, or corrosion. While these coins still hold some value for collectors, they aren't worth nearly as much as those in uncirculated or mint state condition. However, here's where things get exciting. 1964 D nickels that have been preserved in mint condition, meaning they show no signs of wear, are highly sought after by collectors. These coins are rare and can command impressive prices. If you happen to have a 1964 D nickel that looks as fresh as the day it was minted, you could be sitting on something special, but it doesn't stop there. If you happen to own a 1964 D nickel with a minting error, your coin could be worth even more. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process, leading to imperfections or variations in the coin's design. Some of the most valuable 1964 D nickels have been discovered with double dies, misaligned designs, or off-center strikes. These errors make the coins incredibly unique and significantly boost their value on the market. Collectors are always on the lookout for these types of error coins because they are one of a kind. The more rare and unusual the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. For example, if your 1964 D nickel has a double die, where the design appears to be stamped twice, it could be worth substantially more than a regular version of the coin. So, what does this all mean in terms of value? Well, the 1964 D nickel might not seem like a major prize at first glance, but certain versions of it can command huge prices at auction. A well-preserved 1964 D nickel in mint state, or one with a unique minting error, could sell for a staggering amount. Are you ready for the big reveal? A pristine, error-free or highly graded 1964 D nickel has sold for as much as $270,000. That's right, $270,000 for a single 5-cent coin. You might be wondering, how can this be? Well, when you consider the rarity of a coin in perfect condition or with an error, it starts to make sense. Rare coins like this don't come around often, and when they do, collectors are willing to pay top dollar to add them to their collections. Now, before you go running to check your 1964 D nickels, remember that not every coin is going to be worth a fortune. The condition and rarity of the coin are key factors in determining its value. If you think you might have one of these rare gems, the next step is to have it professionally graded by a coin grading service. This will give you a clear understanding of the coin's condition and help you determine its true market value. So, what's the takeaway from today's video? The 1964 D Jefferson Nickel is far more than just a piece of pocket change. It's a valuable coin with the potential to become a collector's prize. Whether it's in mint condition, features a minting error, or simply holds historical significance, this coin is one to keep an eye on. If you happen to have one in your collection, you might just be sitting on a fortune. Second rare coin, we're talking about the 1975 D United States 5-cent coin, better known as the 1975 D nickel. Now, if you're a coin collector, you know that sometimes the most unassuming coins can have surprising value. The 1975 D nickel is one of those coins that you might overlook in your change, but if you've got one in your collection, there's a chance it could be worth far more than just 5 cents. You'll want to stick around as we explore what makes this particular nickel so valuable, and by the end of the video, you'll learn exactly how much it could be worth today. The 1975 D nickel is part of the Jefferson Nickel series, which was first introduced in 1938 and has been a staple of U.S. currency ever since. The obverse of the nickel features the profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and the reverse showcases his iconic home, Monticello, which is located in Virginia. The design itself is simple, yet elegant, honoring Jefferson's legacy in American history. Now, in 1975, the U.S. Mint was still producing a large number of Jefferson nickels, but what sets the 1975 D nickel apart is its rarity, especially in certain conditions. While many of these coins were made and circulated, finding one in excellent condition is quite rare. Most of the coins you'll come across will show signs of wear and tear from decades of use. But if you happen to have a well-preserved 1975 D nickel, you could be holding onto something truly special. One of the factors that makes this coin so valuable is its minting process. Like many coins from the 1970s, the 1975 D nickel was produced at the Denver Mint, and a large number of these coins were released into circulation. But over time, due to everyday use, most of these nickels have been worn down. That means finding a coin in mint condition, without any scratches, tarnishing, or other forms of damage, has become increasingly rare. But there's more. Some 1975 D nickels feature errors or variations in their design, which makes them even more sought after. Minting errors are a treasure trove for collectors because they're completely unique. These can range from misaligned dies to double strikes, and even off-center strikes. The rarer and more unique the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. These errors occur when something goes wrong during the minting process, resulting in a flawed coin that stands out from the rest. And as we all know, rare and unique items are exactly what collectors are after. For example, if your 1975 D nickel features a double die error, where the design appears to be stamped twice, or if there's an unusual off-center strike that makes the coin appear misaligned, it could dramatically increase in value. A coin like this isn't just a nickel, it's a piece of history that collectors would be thrilled to own. But even without errors, a 1975 D nickel in pristine, uncirculated condition can fetch a premium price in the marketplace. While this coin may not have the same kind of value as a rare gold coin or silver coin, a well-preserved nickel can still hold its own and command an impressive amount of money. The condition of the coin is one of the most critical factors when determining its value. Now, you're probably wondering, just how much could a 1975 D nickel be worth if you happen to own one in mint condition or with an error? Well, here's the moment you've been waiting for. A perfectly preserved, error-free or highly graded 1975 D nickel can be worth an astounding $150,000. That's right, $150,000 for a single 5-cent coin. This may sound unbelievable, but it's true. Coins with unique minting errors or those in perfect condition are incredibly rare, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. The reason behind this hefty price tag is simple: coins from this era, especially in pristine condition, are becoming increasingly hard to find. The longer these coins circulate, the more likely they are to show wear and lose their value. However, if you're lucky enough to have a 1975 D nickel that has been carefully preserved or features a rare minting error, it could easily fetch a significant amount at auction. So, if you think you've got a 1975 D nickel in your collection, take a close look at it. Inspect it for any signs of wear, and check for any minting errors or design anomalies. If your coin is in great shape, it could be worth far more than its face value. Don't hesitate to get it professionally graded if you think it might be valuable. It could be the key to unlocking its full potential. In the world of coin collecting, there's always the chance that a seemingly ordinary coin could turn into something extraordinary. The 1975 D nickel is a perfect example of how coins from the past can hold hidden treasures. Whether it's the rarity, the minting errors, or just the sheer condition of the coin, this little nickel might just be the jackpot you've been waiting for. Third expensive coin, we're going to talk about a coin that might surprise you with its hidden value. We're diving into the world of the 1972 United States 5-cent coin, also known as the 1972 nickel. At first glance, it might seem like just another common nickel, but trust me, this coin could be worth much more than 5 cents, if you have the right one. Now, let's set the stage a bit. The 1972 nickel is part of the long-standing Jefferson Nickel series, which has been circulating in the United States since 1938. This iconic nickel features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse, and his estate, Monticello, on the reverse. The design itself has remained largely unchanged over the decades, making it one of the most familiar coins in U.S. currency. However, here's where it gets interesting. The 1972 nickel, despite being part of a well-known series, has become something of a treasure in the world of coin collecting. While millions of these coins were produced, it's the rarity and condition of certain 1972 nickels that can drive up their value. The first factor that contributes to the 1972 nickel's value is its condition. Over time, most coins, especially those that were heavily circulated, experience wear and tear. The design can become worn down, and the coin may show signs of age, such as scratches, discoloration, and fading. As you might expect, these coins are less valuable than those in excellent condition. That's because collectors are always on the lookout for coins that have been carefully preserved, or better yet, coins that have never been used and are still in mint condition. If you're lucky enough to have a 1972 nickel that's been carefully stored and remains in excellent, uncirculated condition, you've got a valuable piece of history on your hands. The grade of the coin is one of the biggest factors when determining its market value. A mint state 1972 nickel, meaning it looks as though it's just been freshly minted, is highly desirable to collectors and can command a significant price, but that's not all. Some 1972 nickels have minting errors that make them even more valuable. Minting errors are a favorite among collectors because they add a unique element to the coin, making it stand out from the rest. These errors happen when something goes wrong during the minting process, resulting in an unusual design or flaw. Some examples of errors that can occur with the 1972 nickel include double dies, misaligned dies, off-center strikes, and even clashing designs. For example, a double die error occurs when the design on the coin is struck more than once, resulting in a blurred or doubled image. A misaligned die could lead to an off-center design or an uneven strike. These types of minting errors can make your 1972 nickel a rare and highly sought-after collector's item, as they're one of a kind. The unique aspect of these mint errors is that they can dramatically increase the value of a coin. If your 1972 nickel happens to feature one of these rare minting errors, it could be worth far more than a standard nickel. Now, I know you're wondering just how much this seemingly ordinary 1972 nickel could be worth. Well, the value depends largely on its condition and whether it has any minting errors. If you happen to have a mint state 1972 nickel or one with a rare minting error, you could be sitting on something truly valuable. A pristine 1972 nickel, or better yet, one with a unique minting error, has been known to sell for as much as $180,000. Yes, you heard that right, $180,000 for a single 5-cent coin. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once just a part of your pocket change could be worth so much, but that's the magic of coin collecting. The rarity of a coin, the condition it's in, and any unique features it might have can turn it into a valuable piece of history. So, what should you do if you think you've got a 1972 nickel that might be worth something? The first step is to carefully examine your coin. Look for any signs of wear, but also check for any potential minting errors or abnormalities in the design. If your coin looks like it's in mint condition, it could be worth getting it professionally graded. Professional coin graders can assess the condition of your coin and assign it a grade, which will give you an idea of its true market value. Even if your 1972 nickel doesn't have a minting error, a well-preserved nickel can still be worth a substantial amount. The value of these coins has been steadily rising as collectors continue to hunt for rare, high-quality examples. So, if you've got a 1972 nickel sitting in your collection, it's definitely worth checking out. In the world of coin collecting, the 1972 nickel serves as a perfect example of how seemingly ordinary coins can hold hidden treasures. Whether it's due to its condition, a rare minting error, or simply because it's a piece of U.S. history, this nickel has become a sought-after item in the coin collecting community. Especially, we're talking about the 1971 D 5-cents coin, also known as the 1971 D nickel. It may look like just another ordinary nickel, but there's more to this coin than meets the eye. The 1971 D nickel is part of the long-running Jefferson Nickel series, which has been in circulation since 1938. This coin, like its predecessors, features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse. The reverse, meanwhile, showcases Monticello, Jefferson's historic home, located in Virginia. The simple, yet iconic design has made the Jefferson nickel a staple in American currency. But here's the thing, while the 1971 D nickel was minted in large numbers, there's something about this specific coin that could make it quite valuable, especially if you have one in excellent condition. You see, most coins that were minted in the past, especially ones that were heavily circulated, have been subject to wear and tear over time. The 1971 D nickel is no exception. However, finding one that is still in mint condition, untouched by the wear of years of circulation, is becoming increasingly rare. As you know, the condition of a coin is a key factor when it comes to determining its value. Coins that have been well preserved or remain in uncirculated condition are always highly sought after by collectors. If you have a 1971 D nickel that has been carefully kept in pristine condition, you may have a small treasure on your hands. The value of well-preserved coins skyrockets because collectors are always in search of high-quality, low-mintage pieces to add to their collections, but that's not all. The 1971 D nickel is especially interesting because it has some unique characteristics that make it a prime candidate for a high price tag. One of the most valuable aspects of this coin is its rarity. Although the U.S. Mint produced millions of these coins, most of them ended up being heavily used, causing them to lose their original luster. Therefore, finding a high-quality specimen is a bit like discovering a needle in a haystack. Collectors are particularly interested in coins that are in mint state because these coins are rare and hold a higher value than those that are worn or damaged. But the real goldmine comes when you discover a minting error on your 1971 D nickel. As with any coin, there is always the possibility that something went wrong during the minting process, and when it does, the result is a rare and unique error coin. Errors in coins can range from misaligned dies to double strikes, and even off-center strikes. When a minting error occurs, it makes the coin stand out from all the other standard coins in circulation. These coins are one of a kind, and their rarity often makes them highly valuable. If you happen to own a 1971 D nickel with any type of minting error, you could be holding on to something extremely special. For example, a double die error is one of the most sought-after mistakes in coin collecting. It happens when the design on the coin is struck twice, creating a doubling effect that is clearly visible to the naked eye. Similarly, off-center strikes or misaligned die errors occur when the design is not properly centered or aligned, resulting in a visually distinct flaw. Collectors will pay a premium for these error coins because of their uniqueness. The good news is that, even if your 1971 D nickel doesn't have a minting error, it can still be worth quite a bit if it's in exceptional condition. As mentioned, coins in perfect or near-perfect shape are far more valuable than their worn counterparts. So if you've got one of these nickels sitting in your collection, it's worth taking a second look at it to see if it's in mint state. And now, let's get to the moment you've all been waiting for, the value of the 1971 D nickel. If you've got one of these coins that has been well preserved or features a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. A high-grade 1971 D nickel with a minting error or in pristine condition could easily be worth $199,000. That's right, $199,000 for a single 5-cent coin. You may be asking, how is this possible? The reason is simple: as time goes on, certain coins become increasingly harder to find in mint condition, and errors become more valuable. The rarity of these coins, combined with their historical significance, makes them highly desirable to serious collectors and numismatists. If you think you've got a 1971 D nickel that could be worth something, the best thing you can do is get it professionally graded. Grading experts can examine the coin and assign it a grade based on its condition, which will give you a better idea of its true value. If it's graded as a mint state coin, you'll be in for a pleasant surprise when you find out just how much it's worth. So, the next time you're sorting through your collection or come across a 1971 D nickel in your spare change, remember that what seems like an ordinary coin could actually be worth a lot more. Whether it's the rarity, the minting errors, or simply the condition, this coin has the potential to make you a very happy collector. Now, we're taking a closer look at a coin that's often overlooked but holds hidden value, the 1987 D 5-cent coin, also known as the 1987 D nickel. At first glance, it might look like just another common nickel, but there's much more to this coin than meets the eye. Stay tuned as we dive deep into its history, rarity, and what could make it worth a small fortune. Let's start with a little bit of background on this coin. The 1987 D nickel is part of the well-known Jefferson Nickel series, which has been circulating in the U.S. since 1938. This iconic nickel features Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse. On the reverse, you'll find an image of Monticello, Jefferson's estate, located in Virginia. This design has become a symbol of American history, making the Jefferson Nickel one of the most familiar and widely recognized coins in the U.S. now. While the 1987 D nickel was minted in large quantities, there's something about this particular coin that sets it apart from other coins in circulation. Most of the time, coins like these are used for everyday transactions, meaning they usually show signs of wear and tear. Over time, the details fade, and the coin loses its original luster. But what if we told you that a 1987 D nickel in perfect, uncirculated condition could be worth significantly more than its face value? That's right, the key to unlocking the value of the 1987 D nickel lies in its condition. Coins that have been well preserved and remain in mint condition are far more valuable to collectors than coins that have been circulated heavily. So, if you happen to have a 1987 D nickel that looks like it's just been freshly minted, you could be in possession of a highly desirable collector's item. But condition isn't the only factor that determines a coin's value. Another important element is the rarity of the coin. While the 1987 D nickel was produced in large numbers by the U.S. Mint, not all of them have stood the test of time. Most of the coins that were circulated have been worn down over the years, making well-preserved examples increasingly rare. This scarcity is what makes certain coins, like the 1987 D nickel, so valuable. The fewer coins there are in near-perfect condition, the more collectors will pay to own one. Now, here's where things get even more exciting. Mint errors are another reason why some 1987 D nickels can fetch astronomical prices. A mint error occurs when something goes wrong during the coin's production. These mistakes can result in unique, one-of-a-kind coins that are highly prized by collectors. Mint errors come in many different forms, such as double dies, misaligned dies, off-center strikes, and clashing dies. These errors make the coin visually distinct and increase its rarity, which in turn increases its value. For example, a double die error happens when the coin's design is struck twice, creating a doubled image. A misaligned die error occurs when the coin is struck off-center, causing the design to be skewed. And sometimes, a clashing die error can occur, where two dies meet and create unintended marks or designs on the coin. These minting mistakes are incredibly rare, and they're exactly the kind of coins that collectors are always on the lookout for. So, if you happen to find a 1987 D nickel that has any of these minting errors, you could be holding a highly valuable piece of history. Coins with mint errors are much more valuable than regular, uncirculated coins because they're unique and often in very limited supply. In the world of coin collecting, errors are considered a real treasure, and the more unusual the error, the higher the coin's value. The next question, of course, is how much could a 1987 D nickel be worth? Well, the price varies depending on the condition of the coin and whether or not it has any mint errors. But let's get to the exciting part. The 1987 D nickel could be worth as much as $211,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $211,000 for a single nickel. Now, you might be wondering, how is this possible? The value comes from a combination of factors: its rarity, its condition, and the unique characteristics that might make it stand out from the rest. As collectors continue to search for high-quality, error-free, and rare coins, the 1987 D nickel has become an increasingly valuable item on the market. If you think you have a 1987 D nickel that might be worth something, the best thing you can do is carefully examine the coin for any signs of mint errors or unusual features. If the coin looks like it's in mint state, it could be worth getting it professionally graded. A professional grading service will assess the condition of the coin and provide a grade that reflects its true value. With the right grade, you'll have a much better idea of what your coin is worth in today's market. In conclusion, the 1987 D nickel might seem like just another regular 5-cent piece, but it has the potential to be worth so much more. Whether it's because of its rarity, its excellent condition, or the possibility of minting errors, this little coin could be sitting in your collection and waiting to surprise you with its true value. Next coin, we're talking about the 1979 5-cent coin, better known as the 1979 nickel. At first glance, this nickel may seem like just another everyday coin, but we're here to tell you that it's much more than that. If you've ever wondered how much a seemingly common coin could be worth, stick around, because this 1979 nickel has a surprising secret that could make you a lot of money. The 1979 nickel is part of the classic Jefferson Nickel series, which has been in circulation since 1938. It features the iconic portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse. On the reverse, you'll find Monticello, Jefferson's historic estate in Virginia, which is also an enduring symbol of American heritage. The design has remained largely unchanged for decades, making the Jefferson nickel a staple in U.S. currency. Now, while millions of these nickels were minted and circulated, there's something about the 1979 nickel that has caught the attention of collectors in recent years. The key to understanding why this coin could be worth much more than its 5-cent value comes down to rarity, condition, and possibly minting errors. As with most coins, the condition of the 1979 nickel plays a huge role in determining its value. Coins that have been kept in excellent condition or mint state are far more valuable than those that have been circulated and worn down over time. Most of the 1979 nickels that were in circulation have been subjected to wear and tear, losing their original luster and clarity. But if you happen to have a well-preserved 1979 nickel, you could be sitting on a coin that's worth much more than just 5 cents, but the story doesn't end there. Let's talk about rarity. While the 1979 nickel was minted in large numbers, the truth is that many of those coins have already been lost or damaged over the years. Coins from this era that have survived in uncirculated or near-perfect condition are increasingly rare, and as the years go by, finding a 1979 nickel that's in mint condition becomes more and more difficult. This makes the coin especially attractive to collectors who are looking for high-quality specimens to add to their collections. And now, here's where things get even more exciting: mint errors. If you're unfamiliar with the term, a mint error occurs when something goes wrong during the coin's production at the U.S. Mint. These errors can result in unique and rare coins that have characteristics not typically seen in standard coins. There are all kinds of errors that can happen, including double strikes, off-center strikes, and misaligned dies. Mint errors are highly sought after by collectors because they make a coin unique and different from the rest. For example, a double die error occurs when the design is struck onto the coin twice, causing a visible doubling effect on the details. A misaligned die error happens when the dies used to strike the coin don't line up properly, causing the design to be off-center. These minting mistakes can make a coin stand out from the rest, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for them. If you happen to find a 1979 nickel with a minting error, it could significantly increase its value. So, now you're probably wondering, how much could a 1979 nickel be worth? After all, a nickel is just worth 5 cents, right? Well, when it comes to rare, high-quality, or error coins, the value can skyrocket. If you have a 1979 nickel that's in mint condition, or even better, one that has a mint error, you could be looking at a value that's far beyond its original face value. In fact, a 1979 nickel in pristine condition or with a rare minting error could be worth as much as $230,000, yes, you heard that correctly, $230,000 for a single 1979 nickel. That's because these coins, in excellent condition or with rare errors, are incredibly hard to find. The rarity of such a coin, combined with the increasing demand from collectors, makes this coin a potential goldmine for anyone who happens to have one. So, what should you do if you think you might have a 1979 nickel in your possession that could be worth a significant amount of money? The first thing you should do is closely examine the coin for any signs of wear or damage. A mint state coin will have no scratches, dents, or discoloration. If your 1979 nickel looks nearly perfect, you could have a real collector's item on your hands. Next, check for any possible mint errors, look for double images, misalignments, or any other oddities that could make the coin unique. If you find anything unusual, it might be time to get the coin professionally graded by a reputable grading service. This will give you an accurate assessment of its condition and value. In the world of coin collecting, a 1979 nickel in mint condition or with a minting error is a prized find. Collectors are always searching for rare and high-quality coins, and if you happen to have one of these rare gems, it could be worth more than you ever imagined. So, the next time you go through your change or look through your collection, keep an eye out for the 1979 nickel. It may look like just another common coin, but with the right condition or minting error, it could be worth an impressive $230,000. Last unique coin, we're diving into a seemingly ordinary coin that could be worth a lot more than its face value, the 1985 p 5 cents coin, also known as the 1985 p nickel. At first glance, this nickel might not stand out from the rest of your change, but trust us, there's something special about this coin that could make it worth a small fortune. Stick with us as we break down everything you need to know about the 1985 p nickel and why it could be a rare find worth thousands. To understand the true value of the 1985 p nickel, let's start with a little history. The Jefferson Nickel, which the 1985 p belongs to, has been in circulation since 1938. On the obverse side of the coin, you'll find the classic portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States. On the reverse, you'll see a depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, which has been part of the design since the coin's inception. It's a simple, yet powerful design that's become a staple in American currency, but here's the twist, the 1985 p nickel isn't just another regular coin. In fact, it has the potential to be a valuable collector's item if you know what to look for. So, what makes this nickel stand out from the rest? The first thing to understand is that the value of any coin is influenced by several key factors, such as rarity, condition, and minting errors. While the 1985 p nickel was minted in large quantities, the coins that have managed to survive in excellent, uncirculated condition are becoming increasingly rare. Most of the 1985 p nickels that circulated through the economy have been worn down over time, losing their original shine and sharp details. But if you happen to come across a coin that looks like it just came out of the mint, you might be holding something much more valuable than just 5 cents. Coins in mint condition, also known as uncirculated coins, are worth far more than those that have been heavily circulated. The clearer the details, the sharper the design, and the fewer the imperfections, the higher the value. Coins that have been carefully stored or kept in protective holders tend to hold their value much better over time. So, if your 1985 p nickel is in mint condition, it's already starting to look pretty valuable. Now, let's talk about rarity. While many coins are minted each year, not all of them stand the test of time. Over the years, a large number of coins get damaged, lost, or deteriorate to the point where they're no longer in great condition. As a result, finding a well-preserved 1985 P nickel is becoming increasingly rare. And when something becomes rare, the demand for it increases, which can drive its value higher. In other words, the rarer the coin, the more valuable it becomes to collectors. But here's where things get really interesting: mint errors. If you've followed coin collecting for any amount of time, you'll know that minting errors are a huge deal in the world of numismatics. A mint error happens when something goes wrong during the production of the coin. These errors can include things like misaligned dies, double strikes, off-center coins, and even clashing dies. When a coin has a mint error, it often becomes a one-of-a-kind item, which is exactly what collectors crave. A coin that's different from all the others in circulation is a rare find, and rare finds fetch top dollar. For example, if your 1985 P nickel has an error like a double strike, where the design appears twice on the coin, that can make it much more valuable. Or, if the coin was struck off-center, resulting in a distorted design, that's another error that could make the coin worth significantly more. These errors are hard to find, which is why they can be worth so much. So, now you're probably asking, how much is a 1985 P nickel really worth? The value of a 1985 P nickel can vary depending on its condition, rarity, and whether or not it has any minting errors. Coins that are in excellent condition or that have mint errors can be worth significantly more than their face value. In fact, a well-preserved 1985 P nickel could be worth as much as $99,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $99,000 for a single 1985 P nickel. Of course, this is for coins in near-perfect condition or those that have rare minting errors. If your coin has any unique features or imperfections that set it apart from the typical 1985 P nickel, it could be worth an impressive amount of money. So, how can you tell if your 1985 P nickel is one of these rare gems? The first step is to carefully inspect the coin for any signs of wear and tear. If the design is sharp, the edges are clean, and the coin looks brand new, then you might have a mint state coin on your hands. Next, check for any minting errors. Look for doubled features, misalignment, or any other unusual markings. If you spot something that seems out of the ordinary, it could be time to have the coin professionally graded by a numismatic expert to determine its true value. In conclusion, the 1985 P nickel may seem like just another common coin, but it has the potential to be worth far more than you might think. If you've got one of these coins in great condition, or better yet, with a mint error, you could be holding a valuable piece of American history. And who knows? It might just be worth $99,000 or more. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another exciting discovery. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!